Good. All right. You lie, babe. We in this mug.
Hey everybody, look at y'all. We got the green heart emojis already starting. So for those of you all who are watching me for the very first time, I'm Army Princess, U.S. Army soldier, been in the military over 10 years now, and I love to share my experiences with you all to help you all become the best soldiers you can be. With that being said, tonight we got a very special live. I'm excited. You excited?
Always, all day, because we have wine.
So tonight we have Can you move that?
Oh, that's me. I thought it was them. I'm over here muting them. My bad, y'all.
So tonight we have Army recruiter and Navy recruiter on to answer you all's questions. You all hit me up all the time about different type of questions. So I thought this was a great platform to have an actual a Navy and Army recruiter on to answer you all's questions. And I know I spoke long enough. You already know who he is. He in every live.
Babe game in the building.
So we are going to go ahead and let them introduce themselves. Precious, you want to start?
Ladies first.
I'm going to let the OG go.
Oh, OG, okay.
All right, how everybody doing tonight? My name is Sergeant First Class Barr, United States Army recruiter. I recruit out of Jonesboro, Georgia, as well as the surrounding areas. I've been in the Army now for 17 years. I am a 12 November, which is a heavy construction equipment operator, which is also known as in the Navy as a CB. So we're very closely related in that aspect. I work on roads, doing construction for buildings, clearing paths for our infantry, as well as setting up what we call tank ditches so that some of our tanks can have a way to be, in a sense, camouflaged from the enemy if need be. And that's pretty much it. Petty Officer Battle.
I like that. I like how you said Petty Officer Battle with such force. I'm Petty Officer Battle. I also recruit out of Jonesboro. I've been in the Navy 15 years. I am a fire controlman, Aegis type. Simply put, I deal with radar systems and missile detection. I sit in cold rooms and dark rooms, making sure we don't get missiles launched at us. And if we do, I spot them. I let the next person know. We shoot them down and we go on about our day.
Hey, okay.
And I mean, it's only exciting when things, get hype. Otherwise, it's not all that exciting. But I love what I do, and I'm gonna try to make it to 20 in one piece and possibly past it. So.
That's what's up.
Okay. All right. So thank you all again for, doing this. I really appreciate it. We really appreciate you all coming on and actually having like real recruiters on to talk and do some dialogue back and forth and answer these people's questions. So a few weeks ago, well, actually this past week, I asked people on my channel to drop their questions. So there was a lot of people. I got a lot of response, different questions from different people, and we are going to answer those questions in a little while. And for you all that's watching at the end, I will give you all time to ask your questions. Mm-hmm. So like we always do, we always have question and answer at the end, towards the end. But I did want to open it up and start with a few questions for you all. Mm-hmm. So just to start, what advice do you have for someone that's thinking about joining the Army for Sergeant First Class Bar and then the Navy for Navy people? Just general advice.
Well, I'd say that whenever you're looking to choose a branch of the military to join, make sure that you're joining that branch because you want to join versus because of what everybody else is saying. Because each branch can offer you somewhat of the same things, but something different. And you have to go in knowing what it is that you want to do in a sense. And if you don't know exactly what you want to do, then you need to be able to understand that you are the person who creates the job availability for yourself in dealing with the Army. So if you go in and you score on the ASVAB, it ranges from 31 to 99. So if you score closer to 31 than you do 99, your options are going to be limited. So you can't come in my office and score 31 to a 50 and say, oh, I'm going to be a doctor or a nurse, and you don't have the line scores to be able to do that. It's not going to happen. And I don't think it's going to happen in any branch for that matter. So I can't give you a job that you don't qualify for, or that's not available to you. So you need to have that understanding as well. You also want to keep in mind what is it that you're going to any branch for? Are you going for your own agenda, or are you going because mom and dad said this is where I need to go and what I need to do? Because at the end of the day, you are the one who's going to have to do that time for that particular branch. And you also need to understand that my experience is going to be different from your experience. Everybody's experience is different. Just because your mom and dad went through hell, or your uncle went through hell when they joined back in 1950, we in 2020. So it's a totally different program
Yes.
going on. You gotta look at the times that you're in now. Because I get a lot of times people say, well, my uncle said that the army does this and the army does that. Well, your uncle was in when? And then you tell me something like 1992. We in 2020 again. So what your uncle went through at that point in time, that is how they conducted business at that point in time. So now the way that we conduct business is totally different. Now we try to cater more to this younger generation that we have now. And to be honest with you, I kind of hate it sometimes, but I understand it. It's a necessary evil in a sense to try to get more young people into the army to keep our army strong. So we adapt to that. So where once upon a time we spent a whole lot of money all the time on training, now we cater a little bit more towards that morale and welfare, like some of the other branches do, to try to keep you comfortable and happy as well.
Sound like the Air Force.
But that's all I got for right now. I'll wait for more questions so Petty Officer Battle can get some in there. Go ahead, Petty Officer.
So I can't stress enough that, like, what you said definitely hit the nail on the head. When you decide that you want to, for one, understand that before you walk into an office, period, do your research and do real research.
Yes.
Somebody's opinions is not facts. So don't come in the office off top branch bashing. Don't do that, because you need to understand that it doesn't matter what you choose. We're all a family. It's the armed forces. You're going to work with those other branches regardless. So you need to understand that you want to join the military, just pick which one suits you. We all do similar things, but each one offers a unique thing to to contribute to the armed forces. So understand what you're getting into. And as far as the Navy, understand that we are land, air, and sea. So please don't come saying that, well, y'all don't have enough airplanes and, I want to do the air and, y'all don't offer this. Don't tell me what I offer. Ask me what I offer and come in open-minded. Ask me first. And if I don't know, I will find it for you. You have to come in open-minded. Don't come in spoiled. If you're spoiled, I'm gonna tell you right now, this ain't for you. It gets rough, it gets tough. If you're not used to being on deployments, this ain't for you. Because if 5 or 6 weeks is gonna be tough, 5 or 6 months is gonna be awful. You have to make sure that this is something that you are mentally and physically able to do. Not just physically, mentally and physically able to do. As far as the ASVAB is concerned, stop getting so hung up on, well, I got a 56. Okay, but your line scores play into your jobs. You have to understand that no one's trying to stop you from your dreams. Whatever your scores are, that's what we play off of. We don't make the rules. We don't pick anything. It's all numbers. We're doing what you're giving us. And I'm not a classifier, so I'm out of that part anyway. I do your paperwork, I take you, and I pick you up. That's all I do. So, I'm here to offer you a path to greater things. And that's all I'm here to. I'm not here to gyp you and, stop walking in, defensive. You're just here to get a number. No, I'm not. I'm going to get paid regardless. I'm here to help you. That's why I chose recruiting. This was a choice, not a force. So, come in open-minded, willing to work, willing to, step out of your comfort zone, because you are going to be doing different things, and just be willing to work together. And, like you said, this is a younger generation, and there's a lot of why, and I don't wanna, and I don't understand. It's not for you. Like, pick something else. I need to make sure that, whoever is the left or the right of me, if something goes down, that if the order comes down, you can just do it. We don't have time for why. So you have to be able to be good with that.
Yep.
And that's with any branch, but especially us, if we're out in the middle of the ocean and we're getting shot at, I don't have time for why.
Yeah. That's a fact.
Right.
Jump behind the 50 cal, grab a helmet and a vest and shoot, or stay at home.
Let's go.
I need you to pick a struggle. We can't do both. So, they need to understand that, although we help you with school and get your paycheck and your insurance, you gotta give to get. I need to get that service out of you to your country and the person left and right of you, but I also need, I need you got to bring your A game. You got to bring that willingness, and I'm going to do for you as much as I can. But like you say, you got to be open-minded. You got to be willing to, don't come in there with, I only want to do this. Your opportunity doesn't stop just because they only offered you mechanic. Doesn't mean you can't be a nurse when you get out. Nothing stops you.
So I got a question, because you kind of touched on it, and I'll come back to you. Sorry, Bar. But so you said something that really I want to bring up, and that was going to be my next thing, because I always preach this in a lot of my videos, is to do your research first. What would be you all's advice for someone to prepare to come in, like before they come in and speak to you? What should they be doing before they come in, or is there anything they should be doing to come in?
You can go ahead. So for us, you took too long.
She did you like a recruit. She said you took too long. Sign you up for the Navy. I'm gonna sign him up for the Navy.
Right. I was clicking on mute and she just kept going.
I heart you though. No, honestly, like for us, I always tell people, go to Navy.com. Strictly go to Navy.com. Navy.com. If the answer's not on there, the answer's with us. The answer's not with your uncle, like you said. It's not with your uncle, not your cousin, because seaman recruit Timmy, your cousin that's serving on the USS, whatever, might be bitter and sad, and he's not speaking to the Navy. He's speaking to his experience, not the Navy itself. So go to the website and get the actual information yourself. And we tell people all the time, like, as far as that, the physical fitness part has changed. It used to be, oh, we're going to send you to the FEP course and then, try again. No, they're going to send you home. So you need to go ahead and make sure that that run is something that you're practicing. And, if you can take that ASVAB in school, take it in school. Or whenever it's offered, take it at your first opportunity. Even if you don't want to join now, take it and get it out of the way, because you got these people that's 25, 26 coming in, never seen an ASVAB, and that test is beating them up. And they've never seen it. So, I encourage any opportunity to take that test, take it. Go ahead, OG.
Well, I like the caveat off of her ASVAB thing. If you are in school and you are a senior or a junior in high school, I highly encourage you to take the SASVAB. It is I'm not going to say much easier, but it's definitely an easier test.
I'm sorry, did you say a SASVAB? Is that different?
SASVAB.
Okay.
So it's the same as the ASVAB. It's just letting you know that the seniors and juniors in high school are taking the ASVAB, and they give them a little bit of a different test.
Okay.
And
y'all get knowledge right here, y'all.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah, tell them again, brother. Tell them again.
And you have more of an opportunity to retake the test, because if your school constantly gives the test, then you're able to take the test multiple times with your school each time that it gives the test. So therefore, it gives you a better chance to improve on the ASVAB if you're having problems or issues with it. Also, you have to understand this too. I hate when people say that the Army is a last resort or the military is a last resort, because I know for a fact, I can't speak for any other branch, but I know the United States Army, you're able to go to school in the Army on active duty. And if you sign up for the reserves, you're a full-time student going to school.
There we go.
So why use it as a last resort when you can use it as a platform to help you get started in your new life? Because when you're coming out of high school, most of the time, what you start out with going to college for, you're probably not going to finish. You're going to be to change your mind and want to do something else. So if you do something with the military, then it gives you that buffer in between where now you have a job trade that somebody paid you to learn how to do versus you paying somebody else to learn how to do it. And now we're paying for your education versus you trying to figure out how you're going to pay student loans later on in life. But you're not thinking about that right now because you're 18, 19 years old and you're just like, who cares? I'm going to take these student loans and stuff like that and be good. But think about the big picture of at some point, you're going to be my age. You're going to be your mom's age, your dad's age. And life is going to make a little more sense to you. And now the reality sets in and you become one of those people that I wish I would have.
Yeah.
I came back into the military because I didn't want to be one of those people to say, I wish I would have retired.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy, we could do a whole video on that one, bro.
But I'm going to stop right there and wait for any questions or anything like that that you might have coming back towards me.
Did you want to talk
I like that. Definitely didn't know about the SASFAB. And that's what you all are here for. Princess Platoon members, you all coming in live on YouTube. Y'all are here to get these get the real nitty gritty from the recruiters.
I need some little tips, like knowledge tips, because I swear I didn't know about that. I wish they had that around. And like he said, it shouldn't be your last resort. And somebody commented on it in the comment section. That's one of my biggest regrets is I wish I would have came in and went straight to the military after I graduated high school. I went away to college for a year, 2 years, and built up student loans when I could have just came straight in. And I changed my degree like 2 times when I could have just came in and not had any student loans and still went to school.
Correct.
You got something?
Why can't I do
Go
that?
ahead.
Also, so when you're dealing with the Army Reserve, I know a lot of people like to try to get that job that they want to go to school for, but I like to advise you to think about, again, the big picture. So if I'm already going to school and I'm really going to have to pay this school, or the government's going to pay the school to teach me what it is that I want to do, if I'm qualified and it's available to me, then why not pick a job that's going to offer me student loan repayment and that's going to offer me a bonus anywhere from $2,500 up to $40,000?
Facts.
Now, I realize that, yes, that is a compromise because you're not doing the job that you want to do in the Army. But if you're going to school for it, it's really not a compromise when you can get another job trade to make yourself more marketable in the civilian sector. And now you got a bonus plus student loan repayment if it's available to you and you qualify for it.
Please come on in there, Petty Officer Battle. Makes me feel like I'm part of the Navy now a little bit. Petty Officer. Oh, hold on. That's my bad. Okay.
No, you're fine. So since we were talking about college, 2 things in the reserves. So, and this is my opinion, and kind of seen it time and time again. A lot of people pick reserves solely because they don't want to leave home, which means you shouldn't join the military. In my opinion, that's
me.
Leave home.
That's me.
Then don't pick. The reserves is for that person who hey, I'm going to this university, this college. I know I'm going, and I still want those extra benefits. Or I have this career. I'm a doctor. I'm a lawyer. I'm a teacher. I'm a police officer. I want those extra benefits. That's what you need to look at reserves for, because you're not getting that full package. You're only getting partial. And if you have no backup plan, you're only selling yourself short. Because once you accept that reserve contract and you raise your right hand for the second time and you go off to school and all that, you have to be in the reserves for 2 years before you're allowed to switch to active duty. So now you have to wait and hope that you got something to hold you over until you can cross that. If you can cross over into that, because you have to submit a package like you do for everything else. Right. And on top of that, a lot of people get hung up on, they think they can't go to school. One of the benefits that we offer, if you're waiting to go to school, we get college credits in the Navy for everything we do. I can pull up my SMART transcripts. I was getting college credits in boot camp. When I went to my school, I was getting college credits. So, you can essentially, apply to a school and walk in with credits already without doing anything but your job. And people don't realize that.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
You did nothing.
Yes.
You did nothing but do your job.
Yes.
And not everybody can offer that. So, when people get so hung up on school, I'm like, you got a college credit for jumping in the pool. You just didn't know it. You're not paying attention. That's not something that you're worried about at the time. So, but they're not doing their research. They're not asking those questions. They're not, they just see military, or, my dad said I need to go to the Navy, or my dad said I need to go to the Air Force, or I heard this is the bougier branch, so this is why I'm gonna go here. But you're not doing no research, and you're not getting anything out of it.
Go ahead.
Go ahead there.
All right. I see in the comments somebody wants a question answered. Do you need to be a citizen to join the Army? You need to be a citizen, but if you have what most civilians call your green card, and we refer to it as a green card as well, but the actual name for it is an I-551 card, which I think the Navy uses the same thing. If you have a green card, an I-551 card, or certificate of naturalization, then we can start to process you, and you can later get your citizenship into the United States. I hope that answered your question.
Yes, because I think they were in the last live and they asked that question last week, and I wasn't really sure the answer, so I'm glad y'all on.
And let me tell y'all something. Y'all got some real recruiters in here that are not ducking and dodging any questions, y'all. They're not over here giving y'all that little vanilla answer or that little browse over answer. They are giving y'all, at least what it seems to me, they're giving y'all the nitty gritty. We didn't give them the questions beforehand. We didn't tell them, we gave them an overview of what we're going to talk about, but we didn't prep them for the questions. They are here to give you the real deal and the real story. They're not here to trick you or tell you any false pretenses. So y'all have a prime opportunity to share this with any of your friends and let them know that Army Princess brought y'all in here with some real recruiters to give y'all a real story. But you brought up something that I want to talk about there, Petty Officer. You said the bougie branch. So what are some of the stereotypes of different branches that you all see when people walk into the recruiting? Okay, I see you got my question.
And real quick before you start, let me shout out Cecilia. Thank you for the donating to the super chat. Y'all are awesome. Last week we made a whole sub sandwich, so
we did, and we got your question, Cecilia. Right after we talk about these stereotypes, you are up. That super chat rises you to the top of the list. Ashley may not like it, but I'm calling it. But what's the bougie brands? What are these stereotypes, y'all?
Can I go first? Can I go first?
Go ahead.
So let society tell it. Everybody come. The Air Force is the best branch. They told me the Air Force.
See, we talked about that last week. We talked about Air Force last week.
Then next, it's the Navy. The Navy do this and the Navy do that. And then we get juggled around between the Marines and us going between 3rd and 4th place.
Yes.
Well,
don't do us like that.
I'm here to tell you, though, that it really doesn't matter what branch you in. each branch has their own. I'm about to be a little bit politically incorrect, but each branch has their own bullshit.
Yes.
Tell the truth, shame the devil.
Anything that humans are involved in, there's always room for error.
Yes.
I've met people in the Air Force that say they hate it. I've met people in the Navy that say they hate it. I know people in the Army that say they hate it.
We love it.
I know people in the Marines that say they hate it. I know people who have switched from the Air Force, the Navy, and the Marines to join the Army because our promotions are faster.
We talked about promotion last week.
Check out Battle of the Branches last week.
So, it's just a matter of the way that you are as to how you're going to take or receive any branch that you go into.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not smart enough to figure out how this branch operates, then your experience is probably not going to be so good with that branch.
Which equals do your research before you come in.
Hey. Oh, and while I'm on, let me answer Jordan Brown.
Hey.
Jordan Brown says, if you're overweight, will the recruiters help you lose weight? Well, young brother, what I'm going to tell you is this. If you got a good recruiter that's grinding, he may not mind helping you. Is it something that is required by recruiters in the Army? No, it's not. I've helped people lose weight before by running with them, working out with them and stuff like that, giving them a few tips here and there about what they should be trying to ingest into their body and stuff like that, because I actually care. You're not just a number to me. I want to help you better your life. But there's a lot of recruiters out there that feel like, hey, if you want to join, then you need to lose the weight, period. I'm not helping you.
Wow.
And then you go on to the next person. So it just all depends on the commitment that you have with that recruiter.
Okay.
Thank you, Natasha Moore, for the super chat. So to caveat off what you just said, so my recruiter, and we already talked about this last week. My recruiter, he was cute.
Was thirsty.
I think he was a little bit thirsty.
You was too.
But he worked out with me, probably because he was a little bit thirsty.
Yeah, both were.
But he worked out with me, and I wasn't expecting that. I didn't even know anything about it. I wanted to join, and he was like, okay, I'll help you join. Because I wasn't overweight, but I had never done any type of physical activity before. So we ran together. We did push-ups. We did sit-ups. He gave me like a little diagnostic PT test before I came in. But it really helped me because I didn't know what to expect. I come from a place where there's no Army like city around, there's no military people around, there's no base around for like states away from me. And so I didn't know what to expect joining the military as far as PT. And by him working out with me, it really helped me. So I know that that's not something that's required by the recruiters, but I'm glad you brought that up because I know that there are people who ask me how to get in shape and how to work out before they join. And I always say, maybe you can ask your recruiter.
Stop eating. But real quick, I do want to get, we had a super chat question. Y'all gonna kill me. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm the bad guy. But can y'all both chime in? Oh no, I'm sorry. Can Sergeant First Class Bar, can you chime in and give a few tips on getting accepted into the Army?
Outstanding. Let me address one question real quick. One little caveat real quick. Also, with a recruiter helping you, you have to be committed as well to the process.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
You have to be committed. Because if I'm taking time out to try to work with you and work out with you and stuff like that, and then I work out with you and you're going back home still eating all them little Debbie snack cakes and stuff like that, then what we're doing is in vain.
You don't know my life.
We working for nothing. So just keep that in mind. You got to be committed as well. Or I get your weight off and then now you want to go and join the Navy. Like that ain't no good. Because I done did all this work with you.
Almost wasted good wine.
Yeah. So, all right. But some tips to get accepted into the Army. There are no real tips to get accepted into the Army because it's pretty much either you're qualified or you're not. Everything that we have is governed by regulation. Even when it comes to medical. If you had asthma once upon a time and you now at this particular point no longer use your pump and stuff like that, then there's a process that you go through for us to clear you for that. So I can't just say that, hey, this is going to help you get accepted, or this is not going to help you get accepted. Can I go off script or off that question just a little bit? Because one thing I hear a lot of is, can I join the Army as a single parent and go active duty?
Ooh, that's a good question. I get that all of the time.
And do I have to give up custody of my kid? Well, as an Army recruiter, it is not my job to tell you to give up custody of your kid. In fact, if I tell you to give up custody of your kid, I am putting my career in danger.
Don't do that. You need your green back.
I'm putting my career in danger. Now, do some people give up the rights of their kids to join the military? Yes, that is totally up to you. But understand, if you give up your rights and then you go and then you decide once you get to your permanent duty station that, oh, I want my kid back all of a sudden, depending on your unit, they could be real shiny and be like, oh, no, that's a booster contract. You see what I'm saying? Single parent. Now, what we can do is accept you into the Army Reserves as a single parent with a family care plan.
And thank you for that. Let's let Petty Officer Battle jump in on that one.
So, boy, you done answered all the good questions. I ain't get to say nothing about the bougie branches.
Hey, bring it all the way back. We good. We ain't got number time in quarantine.
All I'm gonna say is like, so let me go back to that real quick because I've been holding this in my spirit. I did a classroom presentation, and I'm gonna tell you, like, I don't really have feelings. You know what I'm saying? Like the Navy's pretty much washed those away. I'm pretty thick in the skin. But for you to tell a recruiter or a service member, period, that my branch is the worst branch. My mom said that you guys are the worst possible one to pick, and honey, y'all are bottom of the barrel. If I want to just sit behind a desk and not do anything, I just should go to the Air Force. And I'm like, I need you to understand that we all do the same thing, and that's probably not something that you should tell anybody that dons a uniform. That is awful. Mm-hmm. So that's true. I want to put that out. Stop having these misconceptions that one branch is better than the other, because we're all gonna learn to shoot, and we can all get shot at. This period. We all serve the same purpose. So I need everybody to, like, you know, and it's mostly the high school kids. Like they're very impressionable, and also JROTC is not the military.
She was holding that in.
Look at her. People all the time that be like, I'm a sergeant in the ROTC.
Say that one more again. Say that one more again. One more again.
I'm like, I'm level 50 on Mortal Kombat. It means nothing.
She said level 50.
Stop telling me that. I don't care. I don't like my instructor in ROTC. Well, that's not real. This is high school. We don't care about that. That's not the same. But they don't want to hear it. Like, their mind not open. And then they think they're going to college. And next thing they know, my phone's ringing. Hey, I remember when you came out to the school. I bet you do. Stop that. Like, those kind of things really burn me up. Like, and they forget. I said, we're all friends. I have a friend in each branch. I used to recruit with other branches together. We would take on schools together. They have this thing that we're enemies. We're not. Like, look at how we're doing right now.
Thank you. Yeah. Please speak on that.
Like, we all work hand in hand. I've had Marines. I like to tell the Marines we their daddy, but, they don't like it. But it's, we love each other.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's not really that serious. Don't do that. Don't look like that.
But I definitely
wait. I just gotta say it again. She said I'm level 50 on Mortal Kombat. No, because I get people all the time that be like, I'm a sergeant in the ROTC.
Yeah.
Hey, but listen. Hey, but you can be a private or a sergeant or a captain in the Army Princess Platoon. We're gonna drop the Patreon link tomorrow.
Oh yeah, so people that just donated in the super chat, go over there and check out my Patreon, because if you donate over there, you get extra perks. You get things. So I want to put that out because I see people donating all the time in my lives, and thank you all for donating in the live. But I want y'all to go over there and check out the Patreon so you can get stuff for donating.
And so I really have been working on Ashley on Patreon, y'all YouTube fans. I got y'all in here real quick. Give me about 30 seconds. And she really ain't want to do it, y'all. She like, I'm not here for money. And I don't want to ask people to give me money. And I'm like, listen, what you're doing is you're giving people an opportunity to where you can give back to them. And you can give them dedicated attention. So listen, y'all, she ain't want to do it. So y'all show love so we can get her on board. You can get an Instagram shout out. You can get a signed thank you note. You can get a Instagram follow, all kind of stuff on Patreon. I'm about to research the link right now and drop it in the comments. But I do want to go back to what you said, because I even had this question, Petty Officer Battle and Sergeant First Class Bar, about how the working relationships goes into the as far as the interbranch recruiting works. We had the last branch where we talked about the battle of the branches and which is the best branch, and it was all love. And we were just, we wanted to educate everyone on the different branches. But how does the recruiting work amongst the different branches? And as you all are both co-located, how does that relationship and that professional relationship work?
Now, I will say this. I'm gonna just keep it 100. Everybody ain't cool. Everybody not cool. There are some people that, this is strictly a business thing, and it's very cutthroat, and they'll be cutthroat to each other. Like, one Navy recruited to another. And unfortunately, it's sad because they're missing the purpose of recruiting. The purpose is to replace yourself. You're going to give it up one day, and that's the whole purpose. But most of the time we work pretty good. Like me and him, for example, it's nothing for him to say, hey, listen, this guy came in, we can't take him because of X, Y, and Z. Here's his information, vice versa. If I'm in the office and, I see somebody trying to, open their door and like, hey, they're not here. Who you here for? Here for the Army recruiter. Listen, they're not here. Give me your information. I'll get it to them and I'll give it to them. I'm not here to convince you against what your path is. If that's your passion, that's what I want you to do. And we normally work like that. Air Force too. They're not there. I'll slip information in their door. I've had 5 or 6 people show up, on like a day off, and I'm like, I promise I'll give it to them. If you want to stand right here and watch me put in their door, if that makes sense, then that's cool. We're not gonna bother you. But the goal is, if I can't help you, if you truly just want to serve, if I can't help you, let them help you.
There we go.
That's what you really want to do. So let's, if I can't do it, let me take you to somebody who can. And if they really want to do it, they'll be upset for about 5 minutes, and they'll see like, well, the pay is still the same. Base pay is still the same. I still get to do X, Y, and Z, and they'll go for it. So it normally works pretty well. We really don't have an issue. I mean, but there's gonna be those 1s or 2s that, no, don't let, I don't want them up here at this school while I'm there. I've had that. I've been denied, a school access because, a recruiter from another branch was like, I don't want the Navy here while I'm here. Okay, sis, that's cute. Whatever. I ain't taking personal.
Keep it classy, sis. Keep it classy.
Mudo. But, it's okay, though. But it had not put your finger down. but for the most part, it's all love because we serve the same purpose.
Sorry, well, real quick before we get to you, Sergeant First Class Bar, I just want to shout out our brother, Mr. Kevin Lassiter, who was on the video where we talked about working out during quarantine and getting ready for the Army ACFT, Army Combat Fitness Test. And if you have any questions on that, check out that video. That was about 2 weeks ago. We've had some great guests, y'all. We're continuing the trend. And we're having great guests. And going back to what we're talking about now, we have these recruiters. I see some of y'all questions in the comments, and we're gonna get to those questions. I've seen the shore duty comments or questions a couple times. We're gonna get to that. But before, I want you to jump in on that and how what your experience has been, Sergeant First Class Bar, about working with different recruiters from different branches.
Okay, so working with different recruiters from different branches really depends on the person. At the end of the day, no matter what branch you're in, you meet cutthroat people all the time, and you meet some people that are genuine. And when you meet genuine people, you're able to work together and throw recruits to each other based off of the relationship that you all have. I've experienced Air Force recruiters that were really good and we got along really great. And then I've experienced Air Force recruiters where it was like they act snobbish, like they was better than everybody else. And I can understand it a little bit only because of the simple fact, the way that society has built up the Air Force's image. No matter where you go, they don't have to come to work because they got people beating down their door. They got people constantly calling them. So when you're dealing with people that feel like, oh, that makes me better than you in a sense, then you understand that, hey, I can't deal with this particular person or this particular branch in this location. So I'll continue to deal with the others. I get along for the most part with every branch. It's been a little challenging dealing with this Air Force recruiting station that's right here in Jonesboro because they are a little bit different.
I hope they're not watching.
But, hey, they are. It is what it is. They ain't gave me no recruits.
Hey, it's all. Hey, the truth is the truth, bro.
That's true. So it is what it is. They kind of like they come in and they just do them. The Marines, they come and talk to us sometimes and stuff like that, and we talk to them sometimes, and as well as the Navy.
Okay.
And we make it work. We
That's good.
See people that might be interested in the Navy or the Marines. I know for me, I'll be like, hey, here, this is what they said. Now, if you follow up with them, that's up to you. If you don't, then that's still up to you. But I gave you the information, and the same thing that I've gotten from them as well. So it just depends on where you are and the people that you're dealing with. I seen a question over here. You know what? I'm gonna wait.
He let a question, boy.
Go ahead,
He let a question.
Go ahead.
That's a recruiter, boy. Here you go. Well, hold on. You go ahead and wait though. We have a super chat question that I'd like for y'all to get on.
It's Cecilia again.
And I'm not sure. I don't. Maybe y'all know what it means. Are there enrollment seasons? Is that a recruiter centric question? Okay, y'all both look confused. But go ahead.
So I guess that's in relation to the question that I seen over in the comments at one time that was saying something about are the recruiting stations open for business or something like that. The question said, I don't remember exactly what it said, but there's no such thing as an enrollment season. We are putting people into the United States Army year round. There's a non-stop process. In fact, while we're even on this quarantine, even when it first kicked off, when they said nobody was supposed to go, they still expected us to put people in the Army. So therefore, we don't close. We don't stop. We want you to still contact us. So there's no such thing as a enrollment season. And that question was by Stacy, why recruiters don't like answering their phone or responding to messages 5 days later. You are dealing with the wrong recruiter. Period. That's all it is to it. You need to find you another recruiter.
And they put their phone number and contact information.
You know what?
In
so
there.
that's a good question. I'm glad you brought that up. Are people able to switch recruiters? Like if you start with one, can you go to another one?
Let me tell you something.
I get that question all the time.
If you don't like the recruiter that you're working with, and if another recruiter you want to work with in that office or at another location, that is your choice and your decision.
All right, we got Petty Officer Battle want to jump in. Go ahead there, Petty Officer.
Let me touch on that. So yes, you can switch, but I need people to understand if you're going to switch, understand that if your social is under my name or under my station ID, that new recruiter has to contact me to get it. They're going to ask me what happened, or they're going to say, hey, can you switch such and such to me? And if a red flag comes up and you're hiding something, we're going to tell. So if you're trying to run from one to another because you want to ease the process, you shoot yourself in the foot. I've had that happen. I had somebody who was supposed to swear in remotely, like, you know, swearing at an office, ditched me, ditched the contract, went to another office and said that I refused to help them. I said, no, they ditched me and won't answer my phone calls. But had they not talked to me, they wouldn't have known that. It would have looked like I didn't do my job. So, you know, before they do that switch, they got to understand we're going to talk. But like he said, you get bad recruiters. You get some recruiters, they don't feel like being bothered, or they feel like you have too many issues. They won't bother. They'll let you find someone on, you know, you'll find someone else on your own. But if you get as far as going to MEPS and you have to do a MEPS to MEPS transfer, you're hurting yourself, because that is a very long and painful process, and it is unknown how long it will take. So make sure before you take that step that far, make sure you're comfortable with who you're working with.
Okay.
And you're comfortable with the station, because I've waited on a MEPS to MEPS transfer from Florida since November. I don't understand. So, and that's unfortunate for that person, because it's not on them and it's nothing I can do. But be sure that you know who you're working with. And if you know you have a problem with that recruiter, and I'm not trying to say snitch, talk to the leading petty officer or the station commander. Talk to them first. Maybe there's a miscommunication. Maybe there's an issue.
That's good advice.
Fix it first before you make it a big problem, because maybe they didn't know. You just don't know what happened. Talk about it first before you make it a big deal. Because, you know, people call and report us, and they're going to take their word before they take ours, even if we didn't do anything wrong. So give us that courtesy first before it looks like we're not doing what we're supposed to do. At least give us that. But you definitely can switch.
There you go. Y'all getting the real deal here, y'all, from real recruiters out there in the field working right now during quarantine, y'all. So we had a super chat jump in with a question.
Miss California, thank you so much, Miss California. We gonna make a pizza tonight.
Yeah, we want to put
We got the dough,
pizza.
we got the sauce, we putting the cheese on it.
it.
Last week we was able to make a whole turkey ham sandwich.
You know
Tonight
what I'm
we're
saying?
making pizza.
That's how we gonna do it. But Miss California wanted to know, y'all, if y'all could talk about the Army behavioral health and mental health profession, and even jump in with some of the Navy, those Navy equivalent jobs, if you may, Petty Officer Battle.
I can't read can you read it? I can't even see the whole question.
So the question says, how are the Army behavioral health, mental health professions? She says she's a
I think that's licensed
LCSW.
social worker.
Oh, licensed social worker. Okay, and she would like to serve.
Ooh. So, first off, I don't expect to get the answer on here, but my first question would be, how old is she? Then my next question would be, as a social worker, do you already have a license in behavioral health and mental health issues? And if not, then you would need to obtain that to be a behavioral health specialist in the Army, or you can be somewhat of there is an MOS in the Army. I can't think of what it is.
68 X-ray. My best friend is a 68 X-ray.
Okay. And you can do that job as well in the Army.
Shout out to Vanessa. I might need to have her on the next live.
For behavioral health. What I will say is you have to be a strong-minded person dealing with behavioral health in the Army.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
We go through a lot of different things because of the simple fact that we're constantly deployed. And I'm not saying that other branches don't deploy. Please don't misconstrue that, because everywhere I've been, I've seen all the branches there. But we tend to deploy a little bit longer than most branches. And when we're deployed, sometimes depending on what your job is, we see a lot of things. And some people, their mental capacity for those things that they see are not the same as others. So they need to see behavioral health workers. And some of the things that they may share with you that is patient confidentiality, you have to have a strong stomach to digest. So just be prepared to hear a lot of things that you may not have heard before, especially if you're dealing with combat veterans from the Army, especially from that era of 2000, what was 2001 to about 2005, 2006 time frame when we first got into Iraq and stuff like that. It was a lot of stuff going on. So you got to be mentally ready for that kind of stuff. But we would love to have you serve without a doubt, and join the team. Just make sure that you're ready and prepared. Petty Officer Battle.
So for us, I honestly would tell you, like, if you were to come to this side, I would honestly tell you to talk to an officer recruiter, because we do separate. We don't do officer recruiting at my office. I'm not 100% sure what your credentials are, so I wouldn't want to give you, any false information. But what I will tell you is, even if you were not able to serve, as far as like active duty or anything like that, with that, I know they've had civilian counselors, so you're still essentially serving the military, just not in uniform. So you're still a part of it, but just not as far as, wearing the uniform itself. But that's something that you probably would want to talk to an officer recruiter about. And for us in this area, our officer recruiters are located in Smyrna.
Hey, I appreciate that. Thank you, y'all. And again, I appreciate y'all getting the real nitty gritty on these questions, and just being upfront. And we all know all recruiters. I would say 99% of recruiters are probably honest, but some of them may try to skate away from a question or by omission. But I think did you want to start with some of the questions from community posts or
no? Because they answered a lot of them.
Okay, cool. Hey,
so we're gonna answer some from the comments.
Hey, we have some first class bar who lives in the comments. Hey, last week he was giving them questions, rapid fire, going and helping everyone out. But that's his passion. That's his heart. We have recruiters that really care, like they say. So we're gonna open the floor to questions. Please post your questions in the comments, and we will try to get to as many questions as we can. Go ahead.
I wanted to shout out.
Go ahead.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to shout out. I'm sorry. I wanted to shout out Carol Phillips. So she's from the Trinidad military army. I don't know if that's what it's called, she or he, but they always write me on Instagram and stuff. So they had a question about tattoos, which I get this question a lot. That's why I wanted to talk about it. I know that there are some regulations with tattoos. You can only have them in certain places, and they can only be a certain size. So what's the tattoo regulation?
So for us, real quick, because he said something and I meant to say something earlier. I know you're not supposed, the custody thing, put this out. You're not supposed to tell somebody to give up custody, but if you do decide on your own to do it, understand that do not give up legal custody. That is how you come into that issue with having the issue getting your kids back. But to the tattoo part, you cannot have any tattoos on your face. If you have a tattoo, we now can have tattoos on your forearm and your hand. If you have a tattoo on your neck, it cannot be bigger than a quarter. If you have a crown or a 5-point star, that can be considered a gang tattoo. So, if you don't have them and you want them, I don't suggest getting it, because if you do have it, then they're going to be sent up to somebody for review, someone who does not know you, and you're going to have to try to explain yourself through a handwritten statement why your tattoo is not gang related. And somebody, again, who doesn't know you is going to say, sure, they're telling the truth, or nah, I'm not buying it. No, they're denied access. So.
Okay.
The camera.
What he done? So we have a question.
Wait, he didn't get the
Oh,
answer. I
I'm
want to hear
sorry.
from the Army.
Did you want to jump in on the tattoo policy there? Sorry, first class bar. My bad. I was moving too fast.
It's okay, my brother. It's okay. So what I will tell you is for the Army. Overall, it's no tattoos on your face, neck, behind your ears, or wrist. Now, occasionally we do waivers for some tattoos. So if you have a tattoo that might be on your neck or behind your ear, but it's smaller than a quarter, then sometimes we are able to do a waiver and let you enlist into the Army. All right.
Hey, appreciate that. Sounds good. Hey, clear, concise, and
we got a super chat that came in, so I want to thank Tressie Smith. I think she was in the
Shout out,
last
Bubbles.
live, so thank you.
That's the Deuce family. That's how we do. We show up, show out. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Don't do us. Don't do us. Next question, y'all. Hey, Ashley's keeping me on task. So the next question, I'm sorry, is so does the military take people who owe child? Don't laugh. I'm trying to be serious. Does the military take people who owe child support and warrants for child support?
Somebody is asking for a friend.
They are asking for a friend.
So let me say
says,
this.
somebody is trying to enlist because they also served a little jail time for drugs. Y'all better leave y'all judgment at home.
Let me say this. Let me say this. First off, if you got an open case of any kind and you have not paid your fines, you come see me. But I ain't no processing going on until that case is closed and those fines are paid. Period. That is the end of discussion for the United States Army. Petty Officer Battle.
Piggyback on that. You're gonna do an FBI background check. So if it's open, we gonna see it. You're not gonna leave MEPS without them seeing it. So if it's open, don't bother. We don't care about your child support as long as the paperwork is in order and it's figured out. That's fine. You know, we understand things happen, but you cannot have anything open. Not even so much as a speeding ticket, a parking ticket. Everything must be paid off and closed. As far as the drug situation, every branch doesn't do this. If you have a marijuana charge,
am I good?
Has to be under an ounce.
So do you weigh it?
Wait, I'm mad they got a limit on it. Wait.
Do you have a scale?
It's in there.
No. The paperwork has to say so.
So you got to make sure when you get booked that it say weight, but it's under an ounce though. It's under an ounce though. Make sure you put it in there that it's under an ounce.
And possession with intent to distribute is the difference between a misdemeanor and a felony.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a felony, no, player.
Same thing for the Army. If you got a felony, ain't nothing we can do with you. Nothing. If you get charged, let me break this down too. I'm sorry, Battle. I'm sorry. But you have people that come into our office. They were initially charged with a felony. And then you go and do something, or you pay a fine, or you plead guilty to get a lesser sentence to downgrade that charge to a misdemeanor. Guess what? You still got a felony. Charge. So you're no longer qualified to join us at that particular point.
Wow.
It's a felony.
So stay out of trouble, y'all. Stay out of trouble.
In your case, because they didn't have enough evidence, then that's different. Then we can work with you. But if you were charged initially with a felony and then you did something to get that reduced, you're done. Also, I know I'm going off track a little bit.
You are.
So you're more qualified when you're in high school. Majority of the people are more qualified when you're in high school than when you get out of high school. And what happens is a lot of times people try to pretend like they're doing this and they're doing that. And then you come back to us when you're about 21 or 22. Now you got these charges and stuff that makes it hard for us to try to put you back into the Army. And then you want to say, oh, I always wanted to join the Army.
You should have just joined straight out of high school.
You didn't. No, you didn't. But okay, we're going to play this game with you right now. What else do you have going on? Please be honest with your recruiter. Please be honest with your recruiter.
Well, she just went to church over there, boy.
There are a lot of things that we can find out by just merely doing when you go to MEPS, as well as when we do that FBI background check. If you tell me a lie about your FBI background check, about your law, and something comes back, at that particular point, I can't trust you. because I've asked you these questions about your law in many different ways. Are you sure? I even joke around with it sometime and be like, what about that time that you and your friend went down the street and robbed that candy store for them Snickers? You see what I'm saying? So I'm asking you these questions for a reason. And then later on, something comes back and you got like 7 different descriptions in your background. Now you wonder why you can't join the army. All of a sudden, now you're like, oh, I forgot about that. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. You knew that.
Hey, I just want to. Hey, it's a small world out here, and apparently, hey, y'all working together is a true statement because you have a viewer that said that Precious taped her, and then that person, him or her, met you, Sergeant First Class Bar. So I guess y'all really up here telling the truth that y'all work together and y'all help people out there in Jonesboro. So that's what's up. Good testament out there. I just wanted to. That was a while ago, and I forgot. I lost track, and I meant to post that up there. But thank you for those questions. I had another question here about going from reserve to active duty, and let's take that from for both the Army side and the Navy side. If there's an option for them to do that, how does that work? And this is before going to training. So basic combat training.
You want to go first? Okay, I'll go first. So basically what happened from what I'm gathering from this question or this statement is that you joined the Army Reserves and now you're having second thoughts and you rather go active duty. Now you can go to your recruiter, be honest with your recruiter and let him or her know that, hey, at this point, I really would prefer to go active duty. And then they could potentially renegotiate your contract for you to do active duty. That would be the only option available to you at that time. Now, once you go to basic training, your only option at that point is to, once you get back to your unit, hopefully they're nice enough and kind enough to sign off on the paperwork for you to go active duty. But like Petty Officer Battle said, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to at least do a year or 2 years in the reserves at that particular point before they even consider letting you go to active duty because they spend their money on your training and stuff like that. But if you haven't gone to basic training yet, then you need to get with your recruiter and let your recruiter know that you would prefer to go active duty, and then they can take the appropriate steps that are needed to be taken to try to help you go active duty. Petty Officer Battle.
So for us, so when you join the military period, you're in what's called delayed entry program. So once you're in delayed entry, you're given that contract, your date, your ship date, like you said, the money spent, your seat is booked. So if you decide after we've taken a job and given it to you, there's a reserve job, there's a full-time support job, there's an active job, you're going to be discharged from the DEP program and they're going to have to re-put you in. There's no guarantee what you'll get that time. So, I hate to say it like that. You need to be absolutely sure what you want to do before you sign that contract. Before you put your thumbprint down, you need to know what you want to do, because that could potentially hurt you. You could have the job of your dreams on this side and you change your mind, and the next thing you know, your options are limited because now as the month progresses, so does the list of jobs. And again, each group is different. A hospital corpsman reservist and a hospital corpsman active duty is in 2 different groups. So it might not be available if you switch. So you need to know ahead of time because we're going to have to discharge you from the DEP program.
Hey, I appreciate that. I do want to go back to what you all said real quick. We had a comment from Facebook that was that stated one of the guys said he had charges when he went into the Army, and he told his recruiter up front, and they were able to, but they got dropped, and he was still able to join the Army based off of getting in front of the situation. So it goes back to what I think you all were saying. Just be up front. Don't try to hide the situation so that if there is ways where you can still join the Army, you can still, or the Navy or any of the other armed forces in the military, you can still join. And I think that's important. Just be upfront, because one thing, my dad taught me, bad news don't get better with time. So like y'all said, it's going to come out eventually. But I'm not a recruiter, enough for me talking. I did have, we had a shout out Ashley wanted to give out. I'm sorry, I don't think we went to that. I got to scroll. There we go.
All right,
that's
here.
you.
Oh, I just wanted to shout out Smiles Nee. So she is another military YouTuber here on the platform. So y'all definitely go check out her channel, because she is consistent and she drops content every single week. And she is a military mom. So check her out.
Check it out. Next question, you all, is I just saw it. It was about credit. Your credit score. Bam. Let's talk about that credit score. Equifax, TransUnion. You know what I'm saying? What's good, y'all? Talk to your boy.
Go ahead. You want to go first? Go ahead.
So credit is one of those things, like they're gonna look into, that's also on that background check. They're gonna check your debt and your credit, and what's gonna happen is when you pick these jobs, some jobs come with a secret or a top secret clearance. That credit, that debt is going to determine your worthiness for some of those jobs. I hate to say it like that, but you could have a 99, be new qualified, but your credit is shot. You just cut off a whole list of jobs for yourself, because that looks like, you look suspect. Can you be trusted? If push come to shove, you gonna sell some. I'm being dramatic about it, but you can't be trusted if
No, you're not being dramatic. That's my job.
If your credit is bad, because we've seen situations in history where people will sell stuff to get some coins, but they won't do it. Like, I've seen people lose their clearance, and they've been dropped in the job, like taken off the boat, taken out of a secret space, and given a job that they're around no secret material. So that is a really big deal. So if you can work on your credit and build on it, and you have to redo your clearance as well while you're in. So if they redo your clearance and it looks suspect, they'll take it too. So that is a big deal.
Thank you. Good answer. You want to jump on that?
All right. So, it's basically the same as what she said. And there's three levels of clearances in the Army. You got your unclassified, you got your secret, and then you got your top secret. And when it comes to looking at different jobs, and when I say different jobs, I'm talking about them jobs that are way up here. And you score high on that ASVAB, and you want one of those jobs way up here where you're getting this real classified intel, then your credit does play a part in that. Because as she said before, there's been cases in history where people have sold their soul just to get some coins to be able to fix their credit or pay off some debt and stuff like that. And they need to know and understand that you're not going to do that. So if you're looking for one of those up there jobs, then you need to make sure that you keep your credit in order, or you have your credit in order when you come into the office requesting this specific job. And I know y'all going through, but there's a question that stands out to me over here in the comment section.
Hey, bro, you the recruiter, bro. So you go ahead. You go ahead, my brother.
And it says, I'm about to enlist in the Army National Guard and came back from MELPS, but want to switch to active. Can I do that?
Can they?
What I am going to say.
You almost spell out her Stella Rose.
Is this. Nobody can make you. Well, let me back up. Let me rephrase it.
Hey, y'all, when he start talking slow, he about to drop some real knowledge, y'all.
Until you ship off to basic training, guess what? You can change your mind.
You know what? That's a good question. I wanted to ask that.
Because if somebody else see this in my leadership, I'm gonna have to pay for it later. But
don't lose your job up here on this live now.
That's a good question. Up until what point can you quit?
If you have not gone to basic training, now this is what you have to understand though. If you choose not to go to the National Guard and you tell them that you're not going, then there's a waiting period that you're going to have to wait to enlist into another branch at that particular point. So truthfully and honestly, if you really wanted to do active duty, you really should have told your recruiter in the beginning. But I know sometimes when you're dealing with recruiters, because I don't want to make it seem like I'm just pinpointing a specific branch, but sometimes when you're dealing with recruiters, the way that they push information out to you can sometimes be a little bit overwhelming and make you feel like you're trapped at that particular point. But
so I have a question. Can I ask you a question? So, say my name is Gabriel Wilson here, right? I signed up to join the National Guard based off of what I knew. I started watching Army Princesses videos and was like, active duty sounds fun. I want to do active duty. What steps should I take to go to what should I say or what should I do to go to my recruiter and say, you know what? I know I started the National Guard process, but I want to be active duty. What should I do?
So at that particular point, you need to go to your recruiter, let your recruiter know that you want to do active duty.
Okay.
Now, if you're going to a National Guard recruiter, 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you at this point, there's nothing you can do. You have to do this. But the truth is, you really don't. We can't send you to jail or anything like that for not enlisting. So if you choose not to enlist at that point, then you don't have to enlist. But you tell your recruiter, make sure your recruiter knows so your recruiter can climb their chain of command and let them know as well. And then you make your move. And like I said before, 9 times out of 10, what's going to happen is they're going to try and tell you that you have no other choice. And most of the time when it comes to recruiting, when you have a recruit, you don't want to lose that recruit because now you have to replace that recruit with someone else. But this is why when you're talking to these recruits, you need to know that they're definitely committed to you and what it is that they want to do. I had a guy today, he was back and forth between active. And I told him, I said, you need to know exactly what it is that you want to do. Do you want this job where you're working on helicopters or do you want to do reserves? I need to know what it is that you want to do so that we're not put in a situation of, well, no, I want to do this.
So from what I get, and I got you Petty Officer Battle right after this, but so from what I hear you're saying is that the onus is on the individual to know what they want to do up front. And like y'all talked about earlier, I think, do your research, gain your knowledge so that you walk in and make an informed decision so you don't regret what you do later on.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, yeah. Did you want to add to that, Petty Officer Battle? Oh, I'm sorry. All right, we good.
So technically, there are 2 swear-ins when you join. That first swear-in is, you do your physical, you pick your job, you get your contract, you're going about your business to delayed entry program. That second swear-in, once you raise your hand the second time, you done. There is no, never mind, I quit. I know because I tried it myself as an 18-year-old. I got scared and I tried to run out. It was like, sis, you get on the bus and get on the plane. Stop playing with me. Too late. So that's that second swearing. So if you decide between first swearing and second swearing, this ain't what you want to switch, you can do it. You're not legally obligated to do anything at that point, and nobody can tell you that. So like he said, don't let anybody tell that you have to do it. After the second swearing, though, that's when you hurt yourself. You can pay some pretty pennies for that.
Okay. Hey, thank you for that. See, that's what I'm talking about.
The college one. Somebody had a question about college.
We had a question. I think I skipped it on that. Oh, this one. Yeah, you're right. So this is another question. They're in their last 2 semesters of college coming this fall. When should that person start reaching out to different recruiters?
They probably should speak to
honestly, they can start reaching out now. Their last 2 semesters will cover this year, basically, correct?
I think so, yeah.
if that's going to cover basically this year going into the spring time of next year, then you should probably start reaching out to a recruiter now. And if you haven't taken the ASVAB, then you probably need to go ahead and take the ASVAB to see where you are. Because if you don't do well on the ASVAB, then you have that opportunity to take the ASVAB test again to do well, to set you up for that point of, at this particular point, if you're already in college, if you didn't get a full ride scholarship, then you probably have some student loans. So you want to be able to score high enough on that ASVAB where you have some jobs that come available for you in the Army that will have a bonus that can help you repay some of those student loans or potentially qualify for student loan repayment.
Hey,
So
that
you
student loan repayment program is awesome. Petty Officer Battle, you have anything to add on that one?
So he's right. So now is about the time to talk about it, but it's kind of hard to say because I don't know how how far out there look for jobs. Because for us, you for sure pick a certain job with the date because your boot camp date and your seat in school correlate with each other. But then also, a lot of college students want officer. And that's a whole different ball game. Their enlistment process is a lot longer than ours.
Okay.
So definitely talk to an officer recruiter right now because that's different. But like you said, we also have a loan repayment program. But if you don't ask about it, we don't offer it.
Right.
Because we don't know that you have loans. I'm not
There we
going to
go.
assume that you have loans. I've tried that before and I said, you have a degree, what are your loans? He's like, I don't have no loans. My school is paid off. And I was like, oh, well, shut me down. So if you don't bring it up,
Okay.
I'm not gonna bring it up. So clearly, it's not important to you. So start there. What side of the fence are you trying to go on? And start at least talking now. At a minimum, you can get your ASVAB out the way, and you can also do what's called dual enroll. You can do both. You can go down both paths. Whichever one you decide is your better fit, you take that path. So you can take your ASVAB and take your officer test. You decide, I don't want to be an officer, I'd rather be enlisted. Leave that there and continue on this side. You decide to, vice versa. I want to be an officer. Good luck to you. You go on, but you can do dual enrollment. You just have to, you have to say it. You don't say it, we're not going to bring it up because we can't read your mind.
Okay, that's good. And that goes back to the question Ashley opened up or did in the opening earlier is questions to ask your recruiter. And so, listen, y'all, she just dropped that in there. One of the questions to ask your recruiter is about the student loan repayment program. So that's a good tip. We have another question here from
Stacy, the AFQT.
I think they may be talking about the ACFT. I'm just going to take liberty to assume that that's what we're talking about. Is that what is being tested? I think this is an Army-centric question in BCT. I don't know. You're not a drill sergeant, but I don't know if you know this based off your experiences or talking to different people. Sorry, First Class Bar.
I don't know because I've heard rumors that the ACFT has been put on hold. So I don't know what they're doing right now in basic training.
Okay.
It hasn't come full circle to active duty. There are some active duty units who are trying to do it currently and practicing it as if it's going to come into play. But right now, I can't give you a definite or definitive answer as to if it's going on in basic or not.
Hey, we got a super chat question.
Cecilia is in the live.
Oh, hold on. Before we get to that, I'm sorry, Cecilia. We're going to get to you, Cecilia. You next. But Petty Officer Battle, you wanted to jump in on that question? Sorry.
There was a Navy question that was asked a long time ago, and because I'll forget. But for us, also, since somebody said the Army has a new physical fitness test, the Navy does too. They've done away with sit-ups and they've replaced it with planks. Are they doing it in boot camp yet? I don't know. So yeah, I'm not excited. So I'm sure you're not either. But there was also a sea to shore rotation, and how long was each? And like, do we have jobs that don't have to go on the ship? The answer is there are plenty of jobs. There's a whole community that never touches the ship, and they're called the Navy Seabees. They're the Navy construction men. You have your welders, your builders, construction electricians, utility men. Like, they're the whole community. They never touch a ship. They travel a lot more than the seagoing Navy actually. They build their, I call them our baby Marines. You'll see them in Afghanistan and Iraq before you'll see us, for sure. Like,
Yeah, they out there.
they're heavy hitters. So, if you are just absolutely not interested in that, ask your recruiter, what are the chances of me being able to be a part of the CBs? And sea to shore rotation, if you are attached to a ship, I use myself as an example. It's based upon whatever rate. Y'all have MOS, we have rate. It's 5 and 3. So I have to be on a ship for 5 years, and I get to be on shore for 3. On a ship, this means I'm attached to a ship. When we go on deployments, you deploy. We're in port. It's just like I go to a regular 9 to 5 and go home. So
okay, awesome. Hey, thanks for that. Hey,
You're welcome.
I see you wanted to make sure your Navy questions got answered. You had to reach back and show love to your Navy questions. I see that. Hey, we did have a comment on here earlier too, that somebody wished that there was an Air Force recruiter on here. We definitely wish we had an Air Force recruiter on here, and maybe next time we'll do it. We try to show love to all the services.
Well, you don't even see them at the schools. You think you're gonna see them on here? My bad. That was shade. My bad. Let me stop.
We laugh, we joke, but we definitely love all the forces. Go ahead there, Petty Acevedo.
Let me just say, one of my best friends in life is in the Air Force, and she was an Air Force recruiter. Like, there's nothing that I wouldn't say that she wouldn't say. So if she were here, she talked just like how we're talking.
There we go.
So if there's any questions that y'all have that y'all really want to be answered by Air Force, ask them, and I will ask her, and I will get them to them so they can tell it to y'all. Like, there's not an issue. You got Marine questions, I can find you Marine recruiters.
Hey,
well, yes, we can. Yes, we can.
That's what we about.
Yes.
But we gonna get Cecilia's question. So for both branches, Cecilia wants to know if there's a problem if she puts her braces on and wants to, I'm assuming, enlist into the Navy and or Army. Or Army. Excuse me.
So for the Army, we're going to need what we call a braces letter. And that braces letter is going to have to tell us when your braces are going to come off. And your braces have to be off before you go to basic training.
Really?
Otherwise, you can't go. There's maintenance that is required for braces that while they're in basic training, they won't be able to maintain.
Okay.
So you can't just leave them on until you finish basic training and AIT and then just get them taken care of at your first duty station?
No, ma'am.
They shaking their head hard like they about to hurt their neck, boy.
No, because I got my braces put on in the military, but I didn't know that. I was already.
We ain't talking about you being in the military. They talking about getting them in, okay?
We suggest that people, some people aren't, they still need them. Like, we have problem with dentists, with orthodontists. Like, they don't, I don't know when they come off. I need you to give a date, and I need them to come off. You can very much get them put back on after you've gone through all the training and go to your new command.
There
but
you go.
Like you said, it's the same for all branches. There is maintenance. Like, they will not take you at MEPS at all. If you don't have a braces letter, the doctor's going to be like, oh, tell your recruiter come get you. Like, it's not even anything we can do. The doctor's not going to see you if you don't have that documentation. They won't even schedule you if it's not a part of your scheduling package. So that's just something that, that's kind of out of our control. You have to have a letter, and it has to say, these braces will come off at this date, and they will require no maintenance. They won't blah, blah, blah. It has to be specific. That's a specific verbiage. And if it doesn't say it, they'll send it back and say, until it's right, we can't do nothing for you.
Okay. That's hey, good question, Cecilia. You probably not only help yourself, but help somebody else. That's what, because I just learned something here today. So hey, moving on with the next question. They ain't come on here to listen to me. They come on here to listen to y'all. Can they wait till a job is open? Natalia Johnson wants to give you a 12 mic. So I'm thinking this is the Army. And
Everybody said it's a rare job.
so is this something where they can just wait till it's open, or what do you suggest that they do? And also, you could jump in on this, Petty Officer Battle. If someone comes in with the Navy and says, "Hey, I really want this job," and you say it's not available, can they wait, or what are the tips and what do you suggest that they do?
I'll let him go first.
So you can wait in hopes that it opens up, but firefighter is one of those rare jobs that doesn't pop up all the time.
Oh, that's what that is?
Right.
I get a
And
lot of people that ask me about being a firefighter.
and what I would recommend is whenever you go into an Army recruiting office, I think you should have at least 3 to 5 different jobs that you're open to. 3 to 5 different jobs that you're open to.
Okay.
That's why I said 3 to 5. And the reason why is because, again, like I said before early on, what you score on the ASVAB kind of dictates what you qualify for and what's available to you. And there are some rare jobs out there that you may actually qualify for, but may not be available to you because they only have a certain number of seats that they fill for this particular job per year. And when that happens, you need to have a job number 2 or 3 or something like that that you may be interested in that you can fall back on. And once you get closer towards completing your contract and get to that point of where you can do what we call reclass, then you can potentially reclass to be a firefighter at that particular point in time when that window opens up for you to reclass.
Sounds good.
That will be totally up to you and what it is that you want to do. If you feel strongly enough that you just want to wait, I don't know how long that wait is going to be, but you can wait. But I would recommend probably taking your job option number 2 or number 3.
She ready.
Available and then reclass later.
She look like that person that's like, you ever see somebody that's out there right about to jump into double dutch ropes? She out there like, I'm ready.
Listen, I can't look. When you said firefighter, I got so excited. Listen, I love my Army people, but let me tell you how I'm about to just go ahead and smother that out. Let me tell you this unique thing about the Navy on the ship. Everybody's a firefighter. It's a part on the ship.
No, we talked about this last week.
We did. We learned about this
last week.
We got to go to firefighting school. I didn't want to go, and you just got to go. But we have your 12. Was it 12M? Is what we call D-seaman on a ship, and so like that's normally pretty open. I'm just giving you options. I'm not trying to sway you, but I just want you to know that you don't have to stay on that side.
Is that what we're gonna do? Is that what we're gonna do? That's what I want to know.
If there's any job that you want that they don't have, so I'm gonna just give you a scenario. So like if you go to join and you get to the point where you're picking a job and you have what's called Q&J and Q&E. Qualified, no job means it's out of your control. They're going to put you at the top of the list and they're going to look for your job. If they have jobs and you don't take them, that's called qualified but doesn't enlist. You don't go at the top of the list. That means you're not necessarily cooperating because you're supposed to just want to join the military. And we get it. Everyone has a passion, but the people above us don't necessarily see your passion because they don't work with you. They don't know you. They haven't built a rapport or relationship with you. So we can only do so much. But there are times, you can still reclassify. If you pick a job and you're in delayed entry, we have the authority to put in requests to switch your job, just like we can switch your time. If you don't want to leave that early, we can request to switch you to leave later. If you don't like your job, we can switch your job. We have that as a recruiter. We can do that. So depending on how bad you want to be in that branch, and you trust your recruiter that much, like give them that opportunity to at least work for you. But if you want to wait like you said, you don't know how long you're going to wait because no one tells us when something is open. I don't know. I can never tell you what job is available. That's a classified job. So
Okay.
it just depends on what's more important to you at the time. Do you want to get your foot in the door or do you want to wait? And I hate to say it like that, but that's kind of how it is. You just don't know.
That makes sense.
He got
No, those are definitely good questions. Of course, he has something. He
So-
ready. He got it. Go ahead, my brother.
All right. God dog it.
I saw this question in the comments.
It just moved away. Hold on, man. Let me go back. It just moved away on me.
But I like how she drank her Stella Rose out of a yak cup with the pinky up.
All right.
So we
So
can talk about that.
so if you're in high school and you've had currently right now, if you're in high school and you've had 3 to 4 years of ROTC, then we're allowing you to come into the Army as an E3 currently.
What?
Okay, extra money.
Look at that.
And y'all said ROTC in high school don't count.
So I encourage some of you young men and women to take advantage of that right now.
How do I get it?
And by taking ROTC and then coming to see an Army recruiter and giving me your high school transcript that shows me that you have those 3 or 4 years of ROTC.
Got it.
Put that in your record, and then boom, voila, you come into the Army as an E3. Now, also, what you have to keep in mind is that if you refer someone to join the United States Army and they join before you ship off to basic training,
Look at that.
then we're gonna promote you one
Oh,
rank.
promotion.
We're gonna promote you one rank. So keep
Wow.
all that in mind as well.
Your Navy counterpart has a
Hold on, let me answer this other question real quick.
You can't move on to the next question. She want to talk about the current question.
I know, but it's real quick. It's an Army question.
Ain't nothing quick about you.
For 25 Bravo hard. I want to answer that question because I don't want them to feel like we ignoring them, like one person tried to do earlier. I don't know. I'm not a 25 Bravo, but that is IT.
What is a 25 Bravo?
It deals with IT, information technology. What I will say is that if that's something that you qualify for and you signed up for, anything that you've never done is going to be a little bit challenging. It's all a matter of how much you commit yourself to that particular process and how much you engage yourself into what it is that you need to learn for that particular MOS. And so you scored well enough on the ASVAB to get that job, I feel like you can do it.
All right. So
go ahead.
Now let's go back to getting that additional rank and referring someone into the military and getting a little extra coins. Can you talk to us about that, Petty Officer Battle?
I just want to express how I think it's adorable how he just made that specifically to the Army.
Oh, is that an Army? I thought that was for all the forces.
It is, but he just made the United States Army. Don't do that. We do it too. Don't do that. Don't single yourself out like that.
I can only speak for the Army. I don't know what.
Don't be a jerk, dude. Listen, and it doesn't matter, since you didn't add this in it, it doesn't matter which ROTC you are part of. You can be any type. It can be Marine, Navy, Army.
Oh, that's a good point.
It doesn't matter. As long as it was ROTC, I think it's 2 years is E2, 3 or 4 is E3. The highest for us is E3. I can't speak to y'all only because for us, E4 and up is you start to become a petty officer. Petty officer requires you to take an advancement exam unless your contract specifies that upon completion of your school, you're automatically promoted to E4.
Awesome.
And our referral program is kind of similar. I want to say it's for us is 2 people you get promoted to next rank. If you give us a nuclear engineer, then you get promoted to another rank. So 2 regular or 1 nuclear engineer.
Nuclear engineer, where do you find them at? I do have another question though related to that. Someone said, what if you have your bachelor's degree? What rank do you come in? And I think you kind of touched on that with the Navy as far as your different tests that you have to get to the rank of E4. But let's say I walk into your office and I have my bachelor's degree. What are my options for future promotions? And how do I get it? What questions do I have to ask to get that promotion?
So if you're going enlisted and you have any type of degree, bring me your transcripts. I can't do much with your diploma. I mean, you can bring me your diploma. I need your high school diploma, but bring me your college transcripts, because that's going to determine, the amount of credits. Is going to help determine if you don't have it completed. So if you don't have your degree completed, bring me your transcripts, or bring your if you have it completed, bring me your diploma. So you get E3 with the bachelor's degree. So and that's the high, like I said, that's the highest you can go for us because of the advancement exam. As long as you bring it, you don't have to ask for anything. Now, when you get to, if you don't bring it to us and you go down the MEPS and they don't have proof, they're not going to give it to you. You have to have that proof. And sometimes MEPS can forget. No shade to MEPS. You have to remind them, hey, I have X, Y, and Z. I'm supposed to get this. Make sure that goes on my contract. Make sure your contract, do not leave out of there without your contract saying you're supposed to have this pay grade.
Okay.
So bring all your credentials, anything that you have, bring it with you so we can upload it into the system. So there's the proof there. And I'm pretty sure it's similar for them. I don't know.
It's to you, sir, first class bar.
Wow, I felt the love just then. I appreciate that. Well, for us with a bachelor's degree, you're definitely coming in as an E4 with a bachelor's degree. Now the other thing is that your transcripts are needed, especially from high school and college, when it comes to particular jobs that you're looking at. Because as we move along in our different sections of your application process, when we get to the point of picking your job, there's a button that we click and it asks, what all do you have? Like biology, chemistry, physics, trigonometry, calculus, all that kind of stuff. So when you're able to input those different things up in there to say that you're qualified for them, and then we have the transcripts to support them, then now we know that you're qualified for this particular job. So it helps boost your job qualifications as well with those different classifications that be on your transcripts.
Hey, thank you. And we're gonna try to and we've been trying to get real in depth and give y'all the most accurate information. We're gonna try to roll through these next few questions before we had to close out the live, because I'm getting tapped below the table and like keep this thing moving. So I'm gonna try to get back on track of where I was. And I see you all, some of you all have been asking questions multiple times, and I'm trying to get it in here. But the next question is, she asked questions a couple times. So is there anything that she could do to help her mother get her citizenship if she joins the Army? Give me a quick little blurb on that one, if you all know. So I should leave it up there. I'm sorry.
I personally don't have an answer for that particular question. That is one that I would have to research a little bit more. I would like to imagine that, though, that if she's in the Army and she brings her mother over here and her mother is able to get here and stay here for a little while, that at a certain point she would be able to apply for her citizenship, but she would have to apply for her I-551 card, which is the green card, first, or naturalization and stuff like that, and then work towards her citizenship. But it would be up to you to probably get over here for that particular process. But I don't know for sure. That is something that I definitely would have to research.
I think that's good. That's good advice. Do you have anything to add on that, Petty Officer Battle?
Same. Like, I'm not too sure, but it kind of goes along for me, I'm thinking, if that person is considered your dependent, because you have to be taking care of them to a certain degree, that might help. But I'm
Mm-hmm.
not
I can see
100%
that.
sure. That might be the only way I can think of that would probably assist in getting the citizenship. But other than that, I'm not 100% sure. I don't know.
That I can see that. So someone asked, they have a degree and they'd like to come in as an officer, but they would like to take the ASFAB. I think this is a quick answer because you all talked about the dual enrollment, but can you speak specifically to this situation here?
It's a strong question.
Hold on. I couldn't hear you. I couldn't hear you first, sorry, first class bar.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a first sergeant yet, but I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm staying that long to become a first sergeant. But if I'm reading her question correctly, she's saying that she has a BA, or that she will receive her BA tomorrow, and she wants to join the Army as an officer. What I will tell you is this, that joining the Army as an officer is very competitive, because just like you want to be an officer, there's a lot of other people that want to be an officer as well. Also understand that being an officer means that you're dealing with a lot of politics and stuff like that going on with being an officer. But all you have to do is go see an Army recruiter in your location, and they will be able to give you the paperwork and the information that you need to go ahead and apply to become an officer. You'll still need to go ahead and take the ASVAB. That ASVAB is very important. So I highly encourage you that when you go and take that ASVAB, that you take it very seriously. From what I observed about the ASVAB, keywords in this I observed about the ASVAB, is it's roughly between a kindergarten and about an 8th, 9th, 10th grade level of questions on that ASVAB. It has a couple of questions that may vary with a little bit of calculus and stuff like that, but overall it's really a low-level test. And a lot of people have trouble with passing that test.
You're about to lose it.
To include people with master degrees come into the office and they go, oh, I got a master degree. I don't understand why I can't pass this test. Well, they're asking you questions on this test that are concerning things like decimals, fractions, percents, stuff that you haven't seen since like the 4th and 5th grade. So you have to open those windows of knowledge back up in your mind again to be able to work this information out. And if you haven't used it since 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th grade, then that makes a huge difference.
I appreciate that.
I'm gonna leave that alone, but just think about that.
No, that's a good point. What would you like to add on that? Sorry, first class. Excuse me. Petty officer battle before you lose it over there.
I hate Bar. It is not that juvenile of a test, sir. It's like 9th, 10th grade level. He's petty. But he is right. You know, people go off to college, they get these degrees, and they normally score the lowest on the ASVAB when they try to take it. They get the lowest scores. Only because, like you said, that's out of their element. They've surpassed all that. That's kind of like in their background. So when they come in, it's like, you know, going down memory lane and they haven't seen it. So it's a shock, and it kind of hurts a little bit, but you know, once they refresh and study a little bit, it comes back and it's not hard.
So is that why, and I would like to expound on this, is that why you all possibly recommended that most of the people in their junior and senior year of high school take the ASVAB test, possibly?
Because it's still fresh. Still fresh in my mind.
Okay. I do want to go on. I got a couple quick ones I want to hit real quick. And again, this is Army centric. Hey, Petty Officer Battle, you've been bearing with us. But real quick Army question. What's the minimum score you have to score in the ASVAB to get a 31 kilo? And let's just say this is not MOS specific. How do you answer that question when I walk into your recruiting station, and even for the Navy, and say, what's the minimum score I have to be a Navy pilot, or to be
A medic,
or how do you answer that question?
So this is the thing. The job that she wants is a military working dog handler. And once upon a time, that wasn't even an MOS. So it just kind of came about to be an MOS, being able to work with dogs and stuff like that. So there's not a particular score that I can tell you that you have to make in order to qualify for this job or this job to be available to you. But what I will tell you is this: the higher you score on the ASVAB, the more likely you are to be able to get the job that you may want. Again, it ranges from 31 to 99. The closer you are to 99, the more options you have available to you to have that resource and that ability with the Army to be able to pick the job that you want. If you are close to 31, your job selections are at the needs of the Army, period.
Okay, got you. You like to add anything on that one, Petty Officer Battle?
For us, it's kind of the same. It's all about your line score. There's a formula for every single rate that we have. We offer everything everybody else does except for anything dealing with animals. But it's a formula. You know, we tell people 50 and up is upper middle group. 65 and up is qualifying in the nuclear engineering area. So, like you said, you aim high, that opens the doors for you. But without your line scores, I can't tell you. If you're off by a couple of points for certain jobs, they have the right to apply for a waiver to waive that so you can still get a certain job. But that's only in certain cases. So, you know, you can walk in with a 60 and you like, man, I can get X, Y, and Z. But your line score in a certain area can, knock you right down and you don't qualify.
That makes sense.
It's really, it's hard to say. Your 60 and my 60 might not be the same. Your line scores don't qualify for it. So.
Okay, no, that makes sense. This is a good. I like this one here. How do you all deal with and try to let's say be aware of recruits with specific religious beliefs that may be outside of the regulation where they may need a waiver? How does that process work? Excuse me.
So I know for us, if you have a particular religious belief and you truly, genuinely practice that religion and you're not just making the stuff up, then what will happen is we will submit some paperwork to our leadership, and our leadership will pass it on, and then you will get approval to come into the Army to practice whatever religion it is that you practice. For example, I forget what religion it is, but the ones that wear the little
the yarmulkes.
Yeah, right on top of their head. Yeah, so that's a simple sending in some paperwork, getting approved for it, and then they're able to do that throughout their military career, and they'll have the paperwork that they need just in case if somebody want to try and be a butthole about it. Then they're able to say, "Hey, here you go. This is my approval to be able to do this."
Okay. So I got a question real quick. Sorry. The caveat on that, because I always wonder, because there's people that ask me about I think it's the Muslim that have to have their head covered. Are you able to wear that in uniform or get a waiver for that?
Yes, you are. All of that. So when you're coming into the military, if you have any particular religious preferences and stuff like that goes on, or religious beliefs, however you want to call it, then you need to let us know that at the beginning so that we can do the appropriate paperwork that needs to be done to make sure that you're able to fall in the guidelines of your religious beliefs, so that we're not discriminating against you or your religion, because we practice in the Army, and I'm pretty sure in all the other branches as well, equal opportunity. So we want to make sure that it's equal and fair for everybody across the board. And just because in your religion, you need to have a beard, or in your religion, you need to wear a turban or the little small hat, for lack of better words, because I don't know what it's called exactly. Yarmulke. Then, we want to make sure that you're comfortable and you can do that.
I'm gonna roast them later on.
I know it. I'll be waiting.
Okay, you had something to add on that real quick. Please.
It's the same thing. So you need to be upfront, and like when you join we'll ask you what's your religious preference off top. It can be Scientology. I think they even have one that's called a pastafarian. They worship meatball and spaghetti noodles. It's weird, but you can be just by anything that you want.
They probably eat good.
The problem is, we just you have to route request sheets. Sometimes, depending on what you're asking, is it going to cause harm to you? Like if you want to wear something specific in uniform, is it gonna take away from your uniform? Is it gonna cause an injury? Is it flammable? That kind of thing. And sometimes people take this they're being discriminated against, but they're not. There's a standard, and they just want to make sure that everyone is within a guideline. But they cannot discriminate you against your religion. You are allowed to practice. You just have to do the proper channels. Like, never take it upon yourself to just buck the system. I'm gonna do it because I want to. Let somebody know. Talk to somebody. We all have chaplains. Go to your chaplain if you're confused about it. You need more information. But do it the right way. But do it up front when you sign your paperwork to join. Let them know your religion off top.
That's a good, and I think, and like you all have both said, be upfront with your recruiter and give them all the information that they need.
Yes.
Don't surprise them later. And I do want to quickly add to that is we have standards that we have to wear for uniform across DOD, not only because we think it's a cool idea, but like Petty Officer Battle alluded to, for safety reasons and for war reasons. And so we have to wear what we call battle rattle or different things that we wear to protect us while we're going out to war. So these exception of policy requests to wear your religious headgear or whatever religious product that you may wear has to pass those different definitions, not just to say that the Army thinks it's okay or the Navy thinks it's okay, but that it is going to be safe for you to wear in garrison and in war. So like I think she alluded to, this is not to be discriminatory towards you, but you have to understand that it's bigger than just you. Everyone should understand that. Moving on, though, I do want to hit on this one. This is a Navy question. We've been hitting a lot of Army questions, but this is a Navy questions for you.
How long does sea duty normally last, and do reservists serve time out on sea?
The longest sea rotation you can expect from any rate is 5 years, and that's normally my area.
At one time.
5 years is a long time.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, tell me about it. It sucks because you never want to be at one place too long. But a lot of jobs is like a 3-year rotation. Sometimes depending if their time gets broken up, they might only have to serve 2 years. Reservists can go out to sea. So when you're in the reserves, you are allowed to serve active duty. You just go to your NOSC and you put in that request. I would like to serve, this amount of time. You want to go here. You just ask that request and you'll get paid that active duty to do it. But what I will tell you is a lot of people don't know about full-time support. Although full-time support, it is exactly what it says it is. It's still reserves, but you go to work every day like we do, but you get to move around a lot different than we do.
Okay. Thank you.
They can go different places that, active duty can't, but, it's another bracket for you. I'm reservist, but I'm active, kind of. So you're kind of getting the best of both worlds of that. But with reservists, I understand you only get paid when you go to work, and just keep that in mind. But you can go out to sea. You can go, temporary assigned duty anywhere you want to go. You just have to put that request in. That's all you have to do.
No, thank you for that. And this is a Navy question, First Class Bar. So we're gonna let the Navy live on this one. But we're gonna go to this question, and I'm gonna say I'm not sure if they're talking about the Army or Navy, so we'll go to both of them. I'm not sure if they have this job in the Navy.
But they kept asking this question, so we want to answer it.
Yeah, she's been bugging me for about 30 minutes or 15 minutes to answer this. Is healthcare administration available for an officer position? I didn't even see that part. Oh, good luck, y'all. Y'all thank Ashley for this.
I have my division officer just so happens to be a medical officer recruiter, and that person can tell you, because honey, I don't know. I don't know.
That makes sense. No, definitely.
I can get
Amen.
I can get y'all the number. Y'all can give it to her to ask her, but I don't know.
Yeah,
Hey, I will say this. We'll take personalized questions right after you join the Patreon.
We want to answer OCW 2.0. She is in every single live.
Yes. So we're gonna take this last question here. Then what we're gonna do is we're gonna give each of you all to give your closing statements, and then we're gonna close up the live. But what should they keep in mind while they're joining the Army in 2020, especially during this coronavirus time period?
all right, I'll go first.
We figured.
I mean, she can go first. I have no problem with it, but she looked like she was trying to figure it out. You know,
I love it.
I wanted to give her that time, but what I'll say is this: number one, keep in mind that, how do I say this without getting myself in trouble?
Keep it 100.
Keep in mind, I'm just going to say it. It is what it is. But keep in mind that the president is the face of the United States. And I don't deal directly with the president. I've never dealt directly with the president. And I've been in for 17 years now. And so therefore, if the military is something that you want to do, then do it. Don't allow the president, who is the president currently, to stop you from doing that. Because there's so many benefits available to you for joining the United States military that can help you and build you till it's not funny. So don't allow that to be the reason.
I'm glad you touched on that because I get that all the time. How do you feel about the president? Yeah. I don't even talk to the president. I don't see the president. All I know is the president gave me a pay raise this year. So
actually, it was, you know what, let me be quiet.
Yeah, let you be quiet. What'd you have, Petty Officer Battle, to add about joining the military in 2020?
You just have to understand that, you know, a lot of things will never be the same. And this is a different time, you know. Expect the unexpected. Expect when you if you're going to boot camp in 2020, you're probably going to be in a 14-day quarantine off top. Just go ahead and expect that kind of thing. Like he said, as far as the president's concerned, that is our commander in chief. No matter how I personally feel, as long as I am a member of the United States military, I do as I'm told. And that's just how it is. And you have to have as my mom would say, a strong constitution to deal with that. You know, that, you know, we don't have to agree with every order put out. I don't agree with everything I'm told, you know, my everyday job, but it's what you chose to do. You're not gonna like everything. And you just have to just be positive and keep an open mind and understand that the way the economy is going, I hate to say it, but right now, we are probably the best option for a lot of people to be taken care of as far as financially.
And that's the truth.
Even education wise, like, and you know, we should never be your last resort. And you know, don't sleep on us. There's a lot of great and exceptional people that come out of the military and wouldn't be who they were today if it were not for them. So, you know, just make sure that you take a good look at the service and, you know, don't sit here and struggle in silence. You know, go talk to that recruiter, figure out if that's something that you want to do, because that could be what saves you. And two things that I know that I was sent to me that I was asked to put out. The buddy program is still available. Don't do it. It's not something that you want to do. I'm a living testimony. And if you are currently in the delayed entry program for the Navy and your date was pushed back, you do not get any extra money for that. That's just hurry up and wait. That's just something that happens in every branch. Dates get changed, and that's just, it is what it is.
Okay.
Sorry.
No. Thank you for putting that. Hey, thank you for answering that. Thank you for putting that out. Hey, everyone, thank you for tuning in. What we're gonna do is we're gonna have our panel members, our recruiters, give their closing statements. I am going to give some closing statements because y'all know I likes to talk, but it will be brief.
Thank
Possibly.
you. Thank you.
I had a lot of wine. We out. And then we'll have Army Princess herself close this video out. So, would one of you all like to start with the closing statements? All right, ladies first. Look at that gentleman.
Age before beauty.
Oh, I'm not involved in this.
I'm very handsome. It's okay, man. I ain't even do all that.
Hey, you better tell him, bro. Hold it down.
No wrong with it. I would talk crazy, man. But look, this is what I say. Just make sure that whatever decision that you decide to move forward with, that you're prepared. Make sure that when you go and see an Army recruiter, whether at the time that you go and see them or not, if you're not sure about what you're going to do, take all of what we like to call source documents with you at that point in time. Birth certificate, social security card, driver's license, high school transcript, college transcripts, high school diploma, college degree. If you have them, bring all that stuff with you just in case, if in the midst of that and in that moment, you decide that this is what you want to do, then do it. Also, try not to be combative with a recruiter just because they say, hey, I want you to do the practice test before you do the PICAT or before you take the actual ASVAB. Because at that particular point, when we're having you do the practice test, we're taking the time to be able to gauge how well you may or may not do on the PICAT or on the actual ASVAB.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that I say as well, to revert back to high school a little bit, when you're in high school, take the ASVAB even if you don't want to join the military, because it can help give you a predictor as to how well you may or may not do on the SATs and the ACTs.
Oh,
Those are very important tests that as a high school student that you have to take. And some people have to pay for those tests. And so if you have to pay for that test, why not take a free test that can give you a gauge of how well you may do before you pay for that test? And also just make sure that as Petty Officer Battle said before, you have an open mind when you come into these offices to talk with recruiters, because as much as we want to give you that job of your dreams, there are parameters in place that keep us from being able to just give anybody and everybody a specific job. There's a reason for it. We don't always know the reasons, but there is. And so we have to abide by those guidelines and those standards that are set forth. So understand that we're not against you, we're for you. We want to help you get in. But MEPS, when you go to MEPS, their whole job is to figure out ways, in a sense, to disqualify you. So when you leave my office to go to MEPS, you are qualified to join the United States Army. Now, if you get to MEPS and all of a sudden have an epiphany of some shit and you disqualify yourself, that is not my fault.
Like that ounce?
Yeah, that is not my fault. Well, that ounce is going to be caught before you get there.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
Pull up your report before you get there.
No, that's good info.
You get there and you have an epiphany all of a sudden and you go, oh yeah, I remember this one time when I was 7, I had these tubes in my ear. And you ain't never tell me about that. That's your fault. You just disqualified yourself. Now you got to go back and get medical documents. Not only that, now I'm under investigation because now they feel like that as a recruiter, I tried to hide something that I didn't know anything about. So be forthcoming to your recruiters, period, point blank.
So you can have those medical documents before you even go to MEPS.
Right, which now makes you completely qualified. So when you go down there and they ask you those questions, you can answer them.
And you can start getting your check earlier, because when you get sent back to the recruiter, I'm not collecting the check from the Army, right?
Well, first of all, depending on what you're doing, if you're doing active duty, you ain't getting a check until you go to basic training.
Exactly, but I'm pushing it back further because now my basic training date is being pushed. Mm-hmm.
Now, if you're doing Army Reserves, the day that you enlist into the Army Reserves, you go to that unit that you're assigned to and you begin drills. And once you do a drill, then you start getting paid.
Got you. Okay. No, I like that though. Keep it up front.
So I'm going to end mine right there. I
Mhm.
thank you all for tuning in with me. I appreciate the love and the support. I appreciate the questions and everything like that. I hope that I helped somebody today with answers about the Army. If you have further questions, by all means, my information is right there on the screen. My recruiter contact number, as well as my Instagram. I encourage all of you to add me on Instagram, because it may be something that I post up there that may be good for you or beneficial for you at that particular point in time, or somebody that you may know. So again, thank y'all. And now I pass the torch on to Petty Officer Battle.
Me. So first off, I was told to tell Mr. Barr down there, Ty said hello. I don't have my Instagram up here, but mine is petty _officer _ battle. I'm better than Barr as far as Instagram, but whatever. I'm just kidding, OG. Don't look at me like that. Don't do that. We're friends. No, you're my favorite person ever. No, so Barr said some really heavy things. Like everything he said, I can honestly say the same thing goes for us as Navy recruiters. Be forthcoming, be open, be honest. All those documents, you need the same documents for us. I'm going to add on to that. If you have any type of police involvement, bring any and all documents with you. I don't need your version. I need the documented version.
The real version.
You're gonna have to write a handwritten statement. You're gonna have to write a why statement. You might be a CO's waiver, and if the stories don't match, you look like a liar, and now you're not eligible. And like he said before, something gets changed because you did something. You're gonna be looked at a certain way. So I need those documents. If you've been on probation, there actually is a waiting period before you can join. I want to say it's 6 months before you're allowed to enlist into the military. What you have to understand is like every recruiter that you are going to encounter is not going to always have your best interest. I'm just going to be honest. And if you feel like that person does not have your best interest, then find someone that does. And I know some recruiters are probably going to hate me for saying this, but like he said before, if you decide you don't want to join, or you drop out, we have to replace you. And they might be more upset that they're losing you versus what you want to do with your life. So make sure that the recruiter that you get, you walk in the office, you can automatically tell who you're drawn to. There's multiple personalities in the office. It fits for everybody. If somebody walks in and I feel like I'm not going to be what's best for them, you know what? I'm not available, but petty officer such and such is the person for you, and that's who I send them to, because that's best to fit them. But like I said before, like the military is awesome. I mean, it's like any other job. It's not going to always be great. Sometimes it's going to be awful. But don't walk in and have a negative attitude because you heard this, and I was told that, and my friend that's in ROTC at University of whatever said this is what happens. They don't know. Learn for yourself. Get that information. Stay open-minded. Don't get so hung around a job. Come in. If you really want to be in the military, then just join the military. You might get a machinist mate, and you wanted to be a hospital corpsman, and find out that being a machinist mate is the best thing that ever happened to your life. You might look. You're getting all these different skills, and when you come in, take advantage of certifications and things of that nature. Don't walk away from the military with nothing.
Yes.
Oh,
Amen.
Don't walk away with nothing. I'm talking about you need to, we have command financial specialists to help you save. We have, Navy cool, Army cool to help you get certs. We send you different schools. You're getting college credits. You're getting all these things. We're offering VA loans. Don't walk away with nothing. Don't let your time in be for no reason. Even if you do 4 years, at least walk away with some money and your post 9/11. Do that at a minimum. Let it be a stepping stone. But
Okay.
don't discredit the military. Don't count us out without at least a conversation. And if a recruiter calls you, I just got to put this out. If a recruiter calls you and said, "Hey, I was giving your information online," don't bite our head off. Don't snap at us. Somebody gave us the information. If you're just not interested, just say you're not interested.
Well,
Don't call us. Don't tell us we suck and we baby killers and we're just trying to do all this extra. Hey, no thanks. I'm not interested. I changed my mind. All that. Don't be like that. We're people too. We're humans too. Like we're sitting on this live and we're being open and honest. Something that a lot of recruiters are not gonna do. Sometimes people put you in the military and they don't talk to you to the day they drive you to the hotel before you go to boot camp.
Yep.
So, we're people too. So I just, like I said, if this is the choice that you make, just understand that what you're doing is for you, not for the president, not for the SecDef, not for the Secretary of the Navy, the Army, none of that. You're doing it for you. And if you don't have the authority to buy, if you're not the person making that decision for you to join, and you're not solid, don't waste the recruiter's time until you are ready.
There you go. Yep. Perfect. I appreciate that. I'm gonna be real brief, you all, and I promise. I would like to start off by thanking Petty Officer Battle, and I know Ashley would thank him too, and Sergeant First Class Bar. And listen, you all, they came on here and they answered all the tough questions. They didn't say, "I don't want to answer that." They didn't say, "That's something I don't want to address." They answered y'all tough questions, and they did this on their off time. So big ups to them for doing that.
Yes.
Big ups to them for coming here because they're not getting paid for this. This is 10 o'clock on Friday, 9 o'clock Central Time. Also, you all, listen, we weren't able to get to all the questions. Ashley's probably going to address it, and she's over here itching, crying. Her legs ain't moved since we started. She's like, get to that question. They got an important question. Listen, you all, we would be on here till midnight, and she probably would be cool with it. But this is another reason why we're doing a Patreon, so that if we don't get to these questions, she has a dedicated avenue and a dedicated platform to where she can receive your questions, reach out to a recruiter, answer your questions, or put you in touch with the right person to answer your question. So again, it's something she didn't want to do, but right after we get on here, I'm gonna be like, babe, I told you so. Be honest with y'all, that's what it is. So thank you all for your support, and that's the end of my time because I've talked long enough.
All right, y'all. I just want to say thank you to everybody that tuned into this live, and thank you all for coming on and answering the questions, answering the tough questions. I learned a lot tonight. I know a lot of my subscribers learned a lot, and I just want to say thank you to everybody who support me each and every week, who show up. We had a whole pizza this week. Last week we had a sub sandwich. And I just hope y'all get ready for next week's live and next week's series that I'm about to start. It's about having confidence as a female in the military. So y'all definitely don't want to miss that series that's starting on Monday. But we are going to go ahead and end this now, and I will see y'all in the next one.
Hey, y'all
Bye.
stay on. I'm just about to end the broadcast. I was telling them.